Hey everyone, back with another video again. We have another little small update, which is something that I actually found and stumbled across accidentally. Remembering that Zoho do release minor updates throughout their system, and they have so many different apps and so many different updates. I sometimes don't get to capture them all. Usually if they're pretty large or significant, then I usually get told, but the little small, little nicky, tricky hack things, usually you find out yourself when you play around in the system long enough. Now, for anyone using Zoho campaigns, keep watching because this is like helpful for you. If you don't use Zoho campaigns, then you should be using it, and then you should probably like reach out to me or look at my course as to how to use campaigns. But in the meantime, when we sync data between CRM to campaigns, sometimes I've had clients say it's a little bit annoying because they don't realize that they've got to go into Zoho campaigns. They then have to go to sync services, and then you've got to go in here into Zoho, and then you've got to create your synchronizations and then map the fields. And sometimes I get clients say, well, can't I just, do this in CRM? Like, why do I have to do it in campaigns? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, you can now do this in CRM. So if I go into my CRM account, for instance, I can't do this in my demo because I don't have campaigns really set up in the demo. So this is in my system. But basically, you go to setup in setup, and then under marketplace, you go to Zoho. And then if you scroll down, you should already have your Zoho campaigns integrated anyway with CRM, but there'll be a manage button here. And if we click into that, we can actually create the synchronizations directly from CRM now. And you can turn them on and off really quickly. And you can set up the field mapping per module as well. So if you need to add more in, you just simply press the plus button and then you select a new field and then you map the new field over. And yes, you can create the fields from here for Zoho campaigns. See, there's a create field button there. So if the field's not in Zoho campaigns, you can create it directly from this screen. Super useful. Once again, I'm still shocked that Zoho haven't fixed this, but for some weird reason, the first name is still not one of the default like preset options to synchronize data. I mean, yeah, it just seems bizarre to me that it's just not there. I know it's not a required field in CRM, but even still, just synchronize the first name over, and if it exists, it exists, and if it doesn't, then it just defaults to the last name. So just make sure you add that in because or otherwise you'll be sending emails to your clients addressing them by their last name, and nowadays I don't think people are too fussed about that stuff. And so that's pretty well it. You can also go into the other option here with Zoho CRM and Zoho campaigns, update fields with empty values. Make sure that's turned off unless whatever it is that you're pushing to campaigns needs to be like that because you've got some kind of conditional formatting happening on some fields or dynamic information in the campaigns. And then the other one option here is update deleted contacts if that's going to be on. So if you delete a contact in CRM, what is it going to do in campaigns? And then in this instance, I just have it as removed from Zoho campaigns altogether because clearly that person with the whole GDPR compliance stuff is actually the reason for you to delete a contact in your CRM is either because you don't know who they are and you want to delete them, or you have found that there is that client has requested that there is something either wrong with GDPR or they've emailed you and said, hey, can you please remove my data off your system? Because of all the GDPR compliance stuff, you have to actually remove them from your system altogether, like all data on their info. So if they ever say to you guys, like, delete me from your system, the cybersecurity policy now is that you need to delete these people out of your CRM. But the problem is what a lot of businesses are doing is they've got like their email marketing system here and then they've got their CRM here. They're deleting them out of their CRM, but they're not deleting them out of their like marketing material over here. So you actually have to, by law, delete them from both. You can't just delete them from one system. So I would highly recommend that you just leave this box checked because then you will not run into implications down the track regarding GDPR compliance stuff. You can create quite a few syncs. You can just press the new sync button on the right-hand side here. You basically choose the type of sync. There is an immediate sync and a periodic sync. And you select either one. So periodic means that it's going to do it at like 3 a.m. every morning, etc. And then there's an immediate one, right? So then you choose the module that you want to do it with, and then you get the options that pop up from here. So the first one is the sync name. What is this called? Why are we setting this synchronization up? Now, if you followed any of my other videos or you've been consulting with me on Zoho campaigns and how to configure it, you guys know that I'm a massive believer now in just synchronizing all of the data over into Zoho campaigns. Like that's all the fields that you need to have in Zoho campaigns, and you just sync it every single day at like 3 in the morning your local time. And then from there, the system will take care of itself. And then you run all your conditional formatting stuff in campaigns. There was a period there, and some of my clients may remember this, is that I was recommending that we set up very specific synchronizations based on very specific views. So individual views inside of that module, which views is obviously that option in the top left-hand corner where you select the view. I was recommending that we create custom ones of those, synchronize them over, and then we would then create a specific email campaign targeted to them. But that's a little obsolete. It's a little bit over baking it now that when I look back at it, and the preferred method now is just to sync every lead, every contact into the system. And then essentially you just have like specific fields tailored to those users. Based on those fields, you then do some kind of action. So in most instances, guys, you'll probably just leave this on all inquiries and you're just going to sync everything over. And then it just says, where is it going to sync to? So if you have certain mailing lists and you have like certain views that you want to sync, you can do that like I just said. But like I've said before, I just find it easier nowadays just to sync all of the contacts, all of the leads. And then in Zoho campaigns, you use what's called segmentation, and you segment the list out into other mini lists inside of Zoho campaigns. And it just saves this whole synchronization headache. So then you select the one that you want to sync that to, and then the retrieval settings. Because we're doing a periodic sync here, we have to kind of say, well, what is the period that we're going to be doing this for? So we've got once, daily, weekly, monthly, and then the date, the time zone, etc. I'm sure you guys can figure that out. And then retrieve, and then is it going to get all the data, or is it data added after a certain date and time? Just do all the data. I don't see why most people would be wanting to change that unless there was some kind of filtering issue. Advanced settings, exclude email opt-out subscribers. This one's an interesting one. I get this question quite often. What do I do with clients that email opt-out? Clients that email opt-out, what that means is that they're never going to get an email again from campaigns or CRM. And I think this is probably one of the most annoying things about CRM, which I'm hoping that they kind of fix this, because I've had this complaint from my clients a lot, is that the option for email opt-out in CRM will be checked in the event that someone in campaigns says that they no longer want to receive emails, which is super annoying, because if you're working with that client and you guys use CRM to send out certain emails about workflow actions or updates or just follow-ups or sales emails, not in the way of a sales email in terms of a marketing email. I just mean like maybe you're still trying to convince that client to sign up with you or use your services, and you're communicating them on a person-to-person basis. So it's not a marketing email. It's just a matter of like, hey, how are you going? Nice to meet you guys. Like, can we please arrange this meeting? If they've unsubscribed from your email list, then your system can't send them an email, which is super annoying. And I don't like that feature. But anyway, that is a way for you to say exclude email opt-out subscribers. So what it's going to do is it's not even going to bother even sending over that client to campaigns at all. So they won't even exist in there. And then we've got exclude converted leads. So this one's another interesting one. What happens when a lead has been converted? I think there's still a little bit of a gray area around this option, and I am going to reach out to Zoho and kind of find out what does that specifically mean, because it's a little bit confusing for someone like myself, and I'll explain why. If you're interested, stay tuned. If you're not interested, just end the video. I'm just going to quickly explain this because this is an interesting one. When it says, is it going to exclude converted leads? So I'm assuming it's going to be like, say, 11 a.m. in the morning. Your synchronization happened probably 5 hours ago. A new lead is created after 11 a.m. And then you talk to that client and then you convert them into a contact, right? Well, does that mean that at 3 a.m. when synchronization happens the next morning, it will not synchronize that contact over into campaigns because they were created and converted in between the synchronizations? Or does that mean that any contact that has been converted at any point in time will no longer be added to campaigns, even if they are in the database? Because they are always in the leads database. It doesn't matter if they're converted or not. All leads remain in the leads database. And you know that through any of my clients who have worked with me on creating some kind of sales report from your leads module, the leads remain in there. They do remain hidden in the table. It's just that the UI in Zoho does not actually show you the actual individual records. It default if it says yes in the database table, the UI that you're using hides the leads from you, so you can't actually see them, but they are still there in the background. So hence the reason my thought on this is that I don't exactly know how that works, because it just says upon inquiry conversion, remove the inquiry from the selected mailing list. But that worries me, because does that mean that you're essentially running some kind of workflow action in here? And I don't really feel like this is the place to be kind of automating that stuff, because I feel like this is where I work with my clients to do this stuff using workflows. And if you've got complex workflows in campaigns and you turn this on, you might break your flow. So be very careful about this button here. In fact, I would almost recommend to all of you to just leave it unchecked, because I feel like it's going to cause havoc for a few of you. Click save, and then once you've done that, you'll pop up and you'll see these two things here, and you can turn them on and off as you see fit. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.